Didn't grow up in church or anything like that. You know, I was just, I'm a skateboarder. You know, I skated, I got high, partied, and, and in the beginning I thought I was having a blast, and there were certain elements of my life where I was having a blast. You know, skating was fun. Skating in itself wasn't bad. A lot of the other things I did, took me down a road that ended up destroying my life, nearly destroying my life. And I didn't become a junkie or a major drug addict or an alcoholic immediately overnight, but it was a progression thing where all of a sudden the fun wasn't there anymore. All of a sudden the pleasure I used to get out of it wasn't there anymore, regardless of how much I did or what I did or whether I did it or didn't do it. My life reached a point where I was just miserable. After being out all weekend, partying, in the last 2 years I was primarily smoking rocks, and I came home and sat on the edge of my bed, and I was confronted with reality in a way I'd never been confronted before. Because for the first time I could see how my life was not only destroying myself, but it was destroying everybody else who was connected to me. And sitting on the edge of my bed, I just started crying, and I just said, God, if you're real, why won't you help me? Because I don't want to be like this. And I really didn't. I wanted my life to change. I wanted to have a good life. I wanted to be a good person, but I just wasn't capable of doing it. And sitting on the edge of my bed, looking up to the ceiling and crying, searching for God with my whole heart that day, I can look back on that day and I can see where God began to orchestrate the events of my life that led me up to a point of having an encounter with Jesus Christ. And God put a man in my path who shared Jesus Christ with me in a way I'd never heard anybody talk about Jesus. He began to share with me how he had been an alcoholic and lived kind of a crazy life, and how his 13-year-old son had led him to Jesus Christ. And I was really captivated and blown away at this man sharing his story with me about how Jesus changed his life. And I didn't know what the word saved meant in Christian terms. If you had asked me prior to this experience, are you saved? I'd have been like, saved from what? And I heard myself ask the guy this question. I said, how do I get saved? And when I asked him that question, I felt all heaven confront me. And the guy looked at me and said, do you want to be saved? And I thought to myself, and I said to the guy, I said, well, if this is what I got to do to go to heaven, I said, yeah, I want it. And I thought, well, this would be cool. I'll get saved, and I'll go meet this dude. I'll do my drug deal. This will be off the hook. And that man opened up his Bible to Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10, and he led me in a simple prayer of asking Jesus Christ to come into my heart. And when I prayed that prayer, God filled me up, and he radically changed me that day. And I can honestly tell you that moment, Jesus Christ came into my life, he did for me what I couldn't do for myself, what my family couldn't do for me, my friends couldn't do for me. All the treatment counselors I'd ever sought out, what it couldn't do, Jesus Christ did in one moment. And he transformed me. And I've been set free and hadn't touched drugs since that day.
Wow.
Instantly set free.
That's incredible.
And the cool thing is, what God did for me, he'll do for anybody. Hey, I'm Jay Alabama Hazlett. You're watching 1Q. You may be sitting there tonight thinking about what in the world are all these guys talking about God, Christianity, Jesus Christ. And you may have questions related to some of the things you've been watching. You may be in a challenging place in your life right now, going through some kind of difficulty, struggling with something, and you're searching for real answers, try to find solutions to your problem. And you may be wondering, is all this real? Some skateboarder on TV talking to me about God. I remember sitting a long time ago watching TV, hearing people say, stuff, and I used to think it was kind of a joke. Why don't you call that 1-800 number? Talk to somebody on the other line. Because I promise you, this isn't a joke. Jesus is real. You probably can find the answers that you're looking for. You never know. This might just change your life forever.